Okay. So this particular class will discuss more about some revision to Introduction to Computer Science. Um, of course, we have studied C++, HTML, Python, CSS, and so on. So I think we should have some revision in between with the subject so that you guys will have a good time in your final exam. So what we are going to do, we are going to revise some questions of C++, with the case of Python, with the case of HTML, CSS, as well as PHP. Of course, you will have a good time in revising these subjects. Right? So, can we begin today's session? Okay, great. So, this is the first question. Write short notes on C++. Okay. So, if a question has been asked, write short notes on C++. So, what you have to do, you have to discuss more about C first of all. Okay, the short introduction, and then you can continue the same with C++. Like C is a programming language which is developed in 1970s. Okay, alongside the Unix operating system, and C provides a comprehensive set of features for handling a wide variety of applications, maybe like systems development and scientific computation. And C++ is a extension of C language. Okay, because in most C programs, they are also C++ programs, and C++ supports object-oriented programming. Okay. So, short notes you can give with the case of C++. Okay, so this is a short notes on, or maybe introduction to C++. Then you have give general form of C++ program. So general form means this is the general form. Like you include some comments, maybe or may not be, and then you include include directives, int main function, and then you start the brace constant declaration, variable declarations, and then a set of executable statements, and then you return with 0. Okay, and then you close the brace. So this is actually the general form of a C++ program. You need not have to include include iostream.h. Okay, and int xyz. So something like that you need not have to give, but you can do constant declaration, variable declaration, executable statements, and then you return with a 0. So this is the general form of a C++ program. And then discuss features of C++ keywords. Okay, I think we have already discussed about C++ keywords. So you can say about C++ keywords like each keyword has a predefined purpose. Keywords are not used as variables and constant names. So you can give some examples like bool for boolean, break, case. For character you use char, constant you use const, continue, double, else, extern, false, float, static, struct, unsigned, void. So something like that you can give examples of C++ keywords. And write a simple C++ program to add two numbers. So suppose a question is being asked, and if you are asked to write a simple C++ program to add two numbers, so maybe you can write it up. Okay. So maybe include iostream using namespace std. Okay. Int main function, int first, second, and sum. Okay. Either you can have the conversation or you need not have the conversation. Like see out, maybe Peter, hey Frank, I just learned how to add two numbers together. Okay, and then you close with n1. Okay. And then see out, Frank, cool. Then n1, see out, Peter, give me the first number. N1. See out, Frank. Okay, maybe the input is actually the first number. Okay, this is C in is actually first. And then C out, Peter, give me the second number. N1. C out Frank. Okay, so the input is actually the second number. So we are computing the sum. So output sum is equal to first plus second. And after that C out Peter. Okay, here is the answer. Okay, and C out is actually the output sum. And N1 and C out Frank. Wow, you are amazing. And you return with 0. So either you can have conversation or you need not have conversation. But the basic logic behind this program is, add the two numbers, first and second, from which you get the sum. And then write a program using C++ to multiply two numbers. So suppose if this is a question asked, then you can go with this example even, or maybe you can choose your own examples to multiply. Okay. Write hash into IO string using namespace yesterday int main function, integer number of parts, and then base per part, total is. So something like that you can do. Or maybe x, y, and z. X multiply y. Okay. To see out, press return after entering the number. To see out, enter the number of parts, and see in. You are going to give the input as number of parts. Okay. And after that, you give the C out, enter the number of pieces in a part. Okay. So in the input, you are giving the piece per part. Okay. So the total piece is equal to number of parts multiplied by piece per part. So if you are able to do that, so like if you see out, if you have, you see out the number of parts. So if you have a number of parts, and P parts and piece per part is actually this one, P in each part. So which means that you have to compute the total piece. Okay, right? So the total piece is actually is equal to number of parts multiplied by piece per part. So we are going to display now all of the sentence. Okay, either you can display the sentences, these conversation, or you need not compute. And then you return with a 0. Discuss about C++ identifiers with relevant examples. So the question is C++ identifiers with relevant examples. So what you are going to do? You are going to discuss about C++ identifiers. For example, you are going to define first of all an identifier. So identifier is actually the name for a variable, constant, or function. Generally, it will have like letter followed by a sequence of letters, or maybe letter followed by digits, or maybe letter followed by underscore. For example, if you have first underscore name, so it starts with the letter, and then age, and then letter followed with numbers, Y2000, or maybe letter followed with number followed with letter, so Y2K. Okay, so these are the examples of valid identifiers. Maybe invalid identifiers, you start with a number. So this is actually invalid. You shouldn't start with a number, but you should start with a letter. And identifiers cannot have special characters in them. For example, x is equal to y, j equal to j20, and then you have a symbol, special character, and then Ricky, and then star followed with Michael. They are actually invalid identifiers because you cannot have like assignment operator, or maybe you cannot have these special characters, this special character, this special character. So you cannot have them. And then identifiers are case sensitive. So as I told you in the previous classes, like this hello is different from this hello. Okay. And this who am I, all caps, is different from sentence case who am I, and also small who am I. Okay. So they are different. They are case sensitive and they are unique identifiers. So you can give some examples with regards to C++ identifiers. And what are single line and multi-line comments in C++? So the question is single line comment as well as multi-line comment. So you have to explain with the relevant examples. So single line comment, like first of all you define what about the C++ comments. So comments are explanatory notes. They are actually ignored by the compiler. So this is actually a single line comment, like double slash. So this is actually a single line comment, and slash followed with star, and then you have like different lines, then star with followed with slash. This is actually a multiple line comment. Okay, so you have slash star, and then you have some comments, and then star slash. And then you have the C++ compiler directives, which was the next question. Elaborate features of C++ compiler directives. Okay. So, whenever you are asked with the features of compiler directives, you should say about the compiler directive. For example, hash include directive. So, it is going to tell the compiler to include some existing C++ code in your program, and this included file is then linked with the program. And there are two forms: hash include IO stream, and then hash include my library.h. So this is actually a predefined file, hash include IO stream, or maybe hash include IO stream.h. And this is actually user defined file, my underscore library. So this is actually user defined file, and this is predefined file. Discuss about the programming style in C++. So C++, as you can see, it's a free format language, which means that extra blanks, extra spaces, or maybe tabs before the identifier, after the identifier, before the operator, after the operator are actually ignored. And blank lines are ignored by the compiler, just like comments. And code can be indented, they can be tabbed in any way. So there can be more than one statement on a single line. A single statement can continue over several lines. Okay, so these are the programming style of C++. And write important conventions to improve readability of C++ program. So what are the important conventions, or maybe what are the naming conventions in order to improve the readability of the C++ code? So what are the conventions? Like for example, you start the program with a header. Normally you start the program with a header that tells what the program does, and use meaningful variable names. Document each variable declaration with a comment telling what the variable is used for, and place each executable statement on a single line. Maybe segment of code, maybe if you can define it as actually a sequence of executable statements that belong together, and use blank lines to separate different segments of code. Only then the reader will find it very easy to understand, maybe to understand the logic of the program. Document each segment of code with a comment telling what the segment does. So you should include more and more comments. So this is actually the programming style of C++. Guys, are you all noting this one? Because this is actually the revision to your final exam. Because every now and then I'll be giving you the revision. I'll be giving you the revision with regards to this subject. Because we are almost nearing to the completion of our syllabus topics. Yeah, good morning. We are almost nearing to the completion of the syllabus topics. So that's the reason every now and then I'm giving you some revision, so that you guys will have a good time in revising these subjects. So I would rather suggest you that this one I'll be posting them in the Google Classroom after consulting with the head of the department or maybe the subordinates, uh, Professor Forkath or maybe Bunian. I will be discussing with them and I should be posting them in the Google Classroom. But still, it is up to your interest that whenever we go through the review about the questions, so you can have a note of it, maybe you can take a photo of it. Generally, you can note accordingly. Okay. With regards to the next question, we have what makes a bad C++ program? What makes a bad C++ program? So writing code without detailed analysis and design, so that's making a bad C++ program. Repeating trial and error without understanding the problem. Debugging the program line by line, maybe statement by statement. That also makes a bad program. And then writing tricky as well as dirty programs. So that's going to make you a bad C++ program. And then the next question, why should you use a language like C++? So a computer, maybe you're going to start with the the advantages of C++. Maybe you can give with regards to conciseness, maintainability, and portability. So in the case of conciseness, the programming languages allows us to express common sequences of commands more concisely. So you can say that C++ has several shortcuts, powerful shortcuts. With regards to maintainability, modifying the code is very easy because it's just like a few text edit instead of rearranging hundreds of processor instructions. And C++ is object oriented, which further improves the maintainability. Also, we can say different processors make different instructions available, and maybe with the case of portability, the whatever the code we type are translated into instructions for many different processes. And the one of the C++ strength is that it can be used to write programs for nearly one processor. So that much space it has with regards to transfer or maybe what you call to be conciseness, maintainability, and portability. And discuss features of C++. Okay, so whenever you are asked with the features, you can say it is a high level language. So whenever you write the program in it, the shorthands are sufficiently expressive, which means that you need not have to worry about the details of the process or instructions. And C++ gives access to lower level functionality than other languages. For example, it gives access to memory addresses. Elaborate the compilation process of C++. So whenever you are asking the compilation process, so you can explain with the help of a diagram. Okay, for example, we have the source file, which is fed via the compiler. So from the compiler, the source file is converted into object file, and then it is being passed to the libraries into the linker, where we have executable files, and then you have OS, the programming memory. So these object files are actually intermediate files, which represent an incomplete copy of the program. So these source files it is actually the piece of the program. So it's being compiled into an object file. From the source file, it is being compiled into an object file. Okay, and this object file might have some markers. Okay, which indicate which missing pieces it depends on. Then you have the executable, and then it's being passed onto the operating system through the programming memory. And you are going to explain all of the functions. For example, with the case of the linker, it is going to take the object files and the compile libraries of predefined code that they rely on. and also it fills in all the gaps and spits out the final program, which can then be run by the operating system. So you can say that compiler and linker are just regular programs, and in C++, all these steps are performed ahead of time. So before you start writing a program, you can perform all these steps. And in some languages, they are done using the execution process, which is definitely going to take much of your time. And this is the reason C++ is going to run faster than many codes, and C++ actually adds an extra step to the compilation process. So here the code is run through a preprocessor which applies some modifications to the source code. So you can say this is the modified diagram. So source file process code through the preprocessor, and then it's being fed to the compiler where you have the object file. So this one is being linked with the help of a linker. We have like standard libraries, and then you have the executables, and then through the operating system it is being outputted to the program. So this is all about the compilation process of C++. The next question is give history of C++. So whenever you are asked with the history of C++, you are going to discuss when it is being founded, who founded it. Okay. And also still you can give some features about C++ also. It's very popular. It can be used in applications for fast speed or the access to some low level features. It was created in 1979 by John Stroudstep, as an extension to C language. Okay, and you can say C++ is the extension of C, or maybe we can write graphical programs in C++. It is less portable and text-based program. And everything in C++ is case sensitive. Okay, so you can uh, give some notes about C++, about history. And then the next question: write a simple C++ program to display the next hello world. So whenever you are asked with writing a C++ program to display the text hello world, so what you will do is maybe you can write a program. You can include comments or you need to totally include comments. Hash include string in main function to start the base. Std c out hello world, and then you close to the line break /n, and after that that's okay, and you return to the 0. Okay. So this program in C++ is going to output hello world. What are C++ tokens? So tokens, if you can see with the case of C++, they are considered to be the minimal chunk of the program that have meaning to the compiler, the smallest meaningful, simplest language. So generally we have many different types of tokens. Normally six kinds of tokens are available. So you can discuss with the help of tokens like keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, punctuation or separators, white space. Okay, so you can give some description. And keywords are nothing but words with special meaning to the compiler. So you can give some examples. Integer, maybe normal integer, double integer, for auto, you can do. Or maybe identifiers which are names of things that are not built into the language. So you can give some examples. See how it's a standard function, or maybe my function. You can give some examples of identifiers. And then with the case of literals, you can give hello world 24.30 C, something like that. You can give some base constant values. operators, mathematical or logical operations. So you have like plus, minus, double ampersand symbol, modulus, must be, and then input or out, like distance or negative. And then you have the punctuation, like start base, end base, starting, as well as closing braces, and then semicolon, and then the case of white space. Um, Clearly, you can see that the white space are being ignored by the compiler in C++, and spaces, tabs, new line, comments are actually white spaces. So you can give some examples. You can give some examples. Uh, if spaces, tabs, new lines, and comments. Take a some white spaces, maybe keywords, identifiers, letters, operators, punctuation, separators, white space in the case of tokens in C++. Discuss types of C++ tokens. For example, this question was asked. You can actually discuss the types of tokens. Okay, so like keywords, identifiers, letters, operators, punctuation, separators, and white space. So these are the different types of tokens. And give some examples of C++ tokens. Once again, the answer is the same. So you can give some examples with regards to each one of them. For keywords, identifiers, letters, operators, punctuations, and white space. So you can give some examples. So give the meaning for the following comments. For example, what is the meaning of this one? Do you know? What is the meaning of this one?
It's a comment.
Comment, very good. What is the meaning of hash into I used to? Or what is the meaning of int to main function? So suppose if the question is being asked, so you should say this one is actually what type of comment? By the way, what type of comment is this one? What type of comment is this one?
This is both the line.
Multi-line comment. Okay, so many lines. Many lines. Okay, so double slash means single line comment, and anything which follows this one is actually a multiple line comment. Okay. And hash include, which tells the preprocessor to dump into the contents of another file. It is actually a predefined file. And here we have like IOStream file, which defines the procedures for input or output. And then in the case of in the main function, you are going to define this code which should execute when the program starts up. So the curly braces generally represent the grouping of multiple commands into a block. Generally, like we are going to start up with the main code. What are C++ namespaces? Sorry, before going into this one, what are C++ operators? So, for example, you can give like binary arithmetic operators. Okay, right? We can give with regards to maybe unary arithmetic operators or something like that. You can give. And also, we have another question. What are C++ namespaces? Like, now you asked me this question, namespaces. So, you can give in C++, generally identifiers can be defined within a context. So a sort of directory of names is called a namespace. So whenever you have to access an identifier, you have to tell the compiler to look for that namespace using this scope resolution operator. So using namespace std is actually the common example. So you have the double colon. So this is actually scope resolution operator. We are actually telling the compiler to look for cout in the std namespace, in which many C++ identifiers are actually defined. And next question. Give the meaning of the following command in C++. For example, using namespace std. What is the actual meaning of using namespace std function? So if you are asked with this one, right? So you are going to give the explanation to using namespace std. So this line actually tells the compiler that it should look in the std namespace for any identifier we haven't defined. Okay. So if we omit this std prefix when writing cout, so generally we can say this has been recommended practice. In place of writing cout, we can give std double colon. Okay, so this is actually the recommended practice. So you are going to tell the compiler that it should look in the std namespace for any identifier which we haven't defined. So that's the explanation for using namespace std. What are strings in C++? Give some examples. So what is the string? A sequence of characters. Maybe for example, hello world is known as a string. A string is specified explicitly in a program. So when you explicitly specify that in a program, so this one you call it with a string letter. Okay, so you can give some examples of strings. Okay. And then next question: what are the escape sequences in C++? Okay, so escape sequences means you have like a slash n. Slash n means you are going to introduce a line break, new line character. Okay. So which means that the rest follows the new line character. Okay. So it's an example of escape sequence, like a hyphen symbol which is used to represent a special character in a text editor. So you can give also the examples of C++ escape sequences. So we'll just take some 2 minutes break while we resume after 2 minutes. We are going to continue the questions, the revision of the questions. So is my screen visible to you? Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, great. So we are going to continue the 26th question. Give meaning of following escape sequences in C++. For example, what is the meaning of slash A? What is the meaning of slash B? What is the meaning of slash F? What is the meaning of slash N? Any idea?
First it is a new line. New line. B is a
No.
space.
Slash N is new line. What
New
about
line.
slash A, slash B, slash F? Slash N is new line.
First line new line.
Yes, slash A. Say slash A is system bell, beep sound. Slash B, backspace. Slash F, form feed or page break. And slash
B is
N, and slash N is what you have mentioned. New line or maybe line break. Okay? Slash A, system bell. Slash B, backspace. Slash F, form feed or page break. Slash N, new line or line break. So in C++, what is a statement? What is an expression? So you can say with the case of statement as well as expression. Okay. So what is a statement? You can say like maybe every statements maybe end with a semicolon, except for the pre-processing commands and blocks. Okay. So you can say like the usage of semicolon. Forgetting this one will create an error, something like that. You can say okay, and then you can give maybe a definition also. A statement is actually a unit of code that does something, a basic building block of a program, and then expression is actually a statement which has a value. For example, a number. It can be a string. It can be a sum of two numbers. Like for example, 4 plus 2, x minus 1, or maybe hello world. They are maybe slash in. They are all expressions. But not every statement is an expression. Okay, so you cannot say like hash include for this case also. So it makes no sense to talk about the value of a hash include statement. Discuss about the C++ data types. So you can say about the data types in C++, like we have like floating point values, signed integers, unsigned integers. So this one, with the help of the table, you can explain. Like char, char character, single text character, or maybe small integer. We have the size, and then we have the range, signed integer and unsigned integer, and then int. With the case of larger integer, the size is 4 bytes, and then signed value, unsigned value, and then boolean. Generally with the keywords true and false. Okay, size is 1 byte, and then just true means 1, or maybe false means 0. And then double, precise floating point number. The size is actually 8 bytes. So you can specify a range. Okay, plus or minus 1.7 to plus or minus 300. So you will have some 50 digits. So what are short, int, and long integers in C++? So whenever you are asked with the definition of short, what do you mean by int? What do you mean by long? So you can give refer this table. Okay, right? So signed integer, you can give the explanation. Okay, so you can give a short introduction and you can say what do you mean by short. Right? Normally for integer you will have like int, but in the case of short, int and long, you should give some examples. Okay, like a floating point value, double value, long double value. You should give some examples, and you should specify the size. You should specify the range also. What are C++ variables? Write a program to discuss its usage. What are C++ variables? Write a program to discuss its usage. So first of all, you should define what is a C++ variable. Okay. So variable is a name location in the memory. So how you use it in C++? You can give some examples. Okay. Next, so hash I was reading using namespace std in main function. This one it's a variable int x, and you are going to initialize the variable x is equal to 4 plus 2. So C out x plus 3. Okay. And you are going to output it into X star code. Okay, and then return 0. So this is how you use this 4 plus 2 multiple times. Okay, and finally you return to the 0. So this is a pretty good example of how you use the variables in C++. what are the compilation as well as runtime errors? So if you ask with the definition of compilation and runtime error, you can give the definition of the compilation as well as the runtime error. So you should say about compilation errors. So they are problems raised with the compiler, generally resulting from the violations of the syntax rules or maybe misuse of types. So normally it will be often caused by using the typographical errors. Okay. So this is actually compilation error. So normally if you try to violate the syntax rules or maybe misuse of the variables or maybe table types, you will have compilation errors. And then you will have the runtime error. There are problems that you only spot when you run the program. For example, you will have the compile when you compile the program, you will not have any error. But when you run the program, you will have a runtime error. Okay, which means that maybe only when you run the program, you can specify a legal program, but it doesn't do when you want it to. For example, for some type of input, when the program will not work. Okay, so you should understand the logic of the program and you should check for the runtime error. So normally runtime error might turn out to be tricky because compiler will not tell you like what the problem is. So you should understand the logic of the program in order to identify the runtime error. What are binary arithmetic operators? Okay. So this is binary arithmetic operator. So you can say about arithmetic operations, the divisions, multiplications, everything you can discuss. Okay, so you can discuss with us the help of an example. Okay, like in the case of divisions, for example, what is the value for modulus? What's the value of division? Everything you can discuss. Okay, with the help of an example. The, maybe in the case of floating point number, like for example, 7 by 2, it computes 3. Okay. For example, if at least one of the operands is actually a floating point number, the result will also be a floating point number. For example, 7.0 by 2 means it will compute 3.3 because the output is actually a floating point number. So you can discuss about the various binary arithmetic operators that are used in C++. Also in the case of modulus operators, 1 modulus 2. So it is going to compute the remainder. The remainder is actually 1. So write a C++ program to find the average of two floating point numbers. It is not finding the average of two numbers alone, but it is finding the average of two floating point numbers. So in order to find the average of two floating point numbers, you can take an example over here. Hash include IOStream using namespace yesterday function in main function double x comma y C out enter two floating point values. So C in is x and y, and C out average of two numbers is x plus y divided by 2.0. We are not mentioning it as 2 but 2.0 because it is a floating point value. And then you have to give the grade 1 and then return 0. And you are going to interface. So whenever you are asked to enter two floating point values, if you give 4.75 and 12.5, that is taking the case. So average of two numbers, it will compute the average. Remember, this is a floating point value. So that's the reason you are giving it as double. What is C++ expression? Give examples. So you can discuss some introduction about expression in C++. So it's actually one constant variable or one function call, And generally, this C++ expressions can be used as operands of operators to form more complex expressions. So each expression that is not a void type generally returns a value. Only if it is void type means it doesn't return a value. Okay. So in the case of arithmetic expression, the operands define the type of expression. For example, we have int a of 4, bit of x of 7.9. Maybe like a multiplied by 5.2 means it's type integer. But 1.0 plus sin x means because of this one it is double. And x minus 3 it's actually double because it's one operand is of double type. So this is how you tend to use expressions. Some more examples also you can give with the expression like 2 plus 7 multiplied by 3, 2 plus 7 multiplied by 3. So you should have the mathematical rules. Okay, I told you BOD mass. You remember BOD mass? BODMAS. Remember? With this expression 2 plus 7 multiplied by 3. Okay, this is different from 2 plus 7 multiplied by 3. Okay, so with this one, the mathematical rules are applied. Remember, multiplication comes before addition. So this one is done first. 7 multiplied by 3, 21. And then 2 is added. Then only 2 is added. So this is actually 23. But for this case, it is actually bracket comes first. So after bracket comes this one 9 multiplied by 3. So this is different from this one. Okay.
Okay, we should we should first and put in the brackets. Then
Yes.
it is a
Yes. Then comes multiplication.
yes. It's simple mathematics.
And what are unary arithmetic operators? What are unary arithmetic operators? So you can give the examples like plus, minus, plus, plus, minus, minus. So plus, minus it is unary chain operator. Plus, plus means increment operator. Minus, minus decrement operator. And you can give the precedence of arithmetic operators. For example, plus, plus, minus, minus is given the highest preference. Then plus, minus it's given next, and then star, slash, less it is given the next precedence, and then normal addition subtraction is given the next priority. So this is how you give the priority or the precedence for the arithmetic operator. Write a C++ program to discuss the effects of prefix as well as postfix notation. So this is a simple program, hash include iPost name using namespace std function int main. So you are going to define the integers int I of 2 j of v8 and C out I plus plus. You are going to increment it and C out I. Okay. So for example, if it is I plus plus means this one you are going to go with the between I of 2 and j of 3. Okay. So this one the output is actually 2. Okay. So if you are going to increment it means the output is actually 3. Okay. Right? And afterwards j minus minus. So you are going to start with 8. Okay. Okay. So minus minus j means this is actually uh, decremented first of all. So 8 minus minus means it becomes 6. And finally, we are going to return with the 0. What are signed operators in C++? Give some examples. So this is signed operators. right? So it returns the value of the operand but inverts the same. For example, int n equal to minus 5. So the output is actually maybe if you are giving like minus n means so minus n means minus of minus 5. So the output is actually plus 5. Okay. So sign operator plus performs no useful operation. For example, like plus 9, plus 11, it is actually 9, or maybe it's actually 11. But with the case of minus means it's going to invert. What are increment and decrement operators in C++? Give some examples. So increment and decrement operators generally like plus plus or maybe minus minus. So plus plus means modifies the operand by adding 1 to its value. Okay. And it cannot be used with constants. Uh, Generally, both I plus plus as well as plus plus I raise the value of I by 1. Okay. So in both the cases, the operation I equal to I plus 1 is actually performed. And continuing the same, the prefix plus plus and postfix plus plus are actually different operators. And plus plus I means that the value of I is pre-incremented. But this one, I plus plus means it is going to store I and afterwards it is incremented. Okay, so plus plus I is actually incremented first and then the new value of I is then applied. I plus plus means the original value of I is actually applied before I is incremented. So decrement operator, it is going to modify the operand by reducing the value of the operand by 1. So this is actually increment as well as decrement. Explain precedence of operators in C++. So you are going to explain the precedence of operator. So you will have like the operator precedence generally determines the order of evaluation. For example, as I told you, this one precedence like plus one plus is having the higher precedence. Normal maybe prefix the prefix operation at plus plus is given the next preference, and then normal plus and then minus sign you are going to give the next preference, and afterwards you give priority to the star slash modulus, maybe multiplication, division, and then maybe remainder value. Okay. Then you give preference in the single plus single minus addition as well as subtraction. And this one demonstrate compound assignments in C++. So this is a program compound assignments in C++. So you can give hash include IO string, hash include IO manipulation using namespace string. You are going to start with the main function int main, and you are going to define floating point integers x and y. C out, please enter the starting value, and then C in you are going to give us x. C out, please enter the increment value. Okay, and C in you are going to give us y. So x plus equal to y. Okay. And C out and now multiplication. C out, please enter a factor. Okay. So this C in you are going to give it as the x plus y. Okay. And afterwards you are going to give x star equal to y, which means the meaning is x equal to x star y. Okay. And C out final division, please supply the divisor. And C in you are going to give y. Okay. So you are going to compute the output x slash equal to y, which means that x is equal to x slash y. And C out, and this is your current lucky number. Okay. So the fixed point or maybe the set precision you are going to set, and you are going to end with the x. Okay. And then finally return 0. So this is how you make the compound assignments. So x is equal to x plus y, x is equal to x star y, x is equal to x slash y. Okay. So whenever you are going to give the value of x and the
Yes,
value
yes.
of y, so you will have the output x is equal to x plus y, x is equal to x star y, x is equal to x slash y.
English, English.